If you're able to, please stand for the presentation of colors by the Kane County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard, followed by the national anthem.
Ready? Post. Ready? Two. Hurry, Zach. Arm. Forward. Mark.
Let's hear it for the Kane County Sheriff's Honor Guard. You all may be seated. I want to thank you all for coming today, and of course, thank you for your patience while we got everybody into the room. I'm Kane County Sheriff Ron Hain, and I am the Illinois Triad Association Board Chairman. Illinois State Triad's goal is to bring together committed public safety personnel, legal representatives, elderly rights advocates, and senior citizens for crime prevention and safety education throughout Illinois. This conference is a great opportunity to advance your knowledge and expertise. Quick thank yous go out to Waubonsee Community College President, Dr. Christine Sobek, Executive Director of Campus Safety and Operations, Mr. Dan Larson, for allowing us to use our beautiful facility here, and Waubonsee Police Sergeant and our very own retired Lieutenant, Steve Collins, for all the setup here. And I can't overlook, where'd she go? Krista Kaus. She works hard at these every single year over there in the far corner. Coming all together, of course, our emergency management personnel that helped us set up the room, all of our wonderful vendors. This is a great day to come out, meet all these folks. It's a wonderful networking event. So I want to, I have to thank our gold sponsor, White Oaks at Spring Street. Is Bernie here? There she is, right there. Thank you, Bernie, White Oaks at Spring Street. And another thank you to all of our vendors. And if you would like to thank Mickey Miller, she helped facilitate the increased participation. Where's Mickey? She helped us fill up the room. And that's counterintuitive. She's not here. All right. So again, I'm Sheriff Ron Hain, and it has been a priority of mine over the last 4 years as sheriff in Kane County to really expand our outreach into the community. We're more than just people that wear a uniform and a badge and a gun and drive around in patrol cars and run a jail. We are about as interactive as you can get, whether we're talking about scam classes, like you're going to hear from our great state's attorney in a little bit on scams, whether we're teaching active shooter classes, which we do about once or twice a week, both at the sheriff's office, at businesses, at schools, just to increase awareness, whether we're talking about our Citizens Police Academy at the sheriff's office, or just general outreach. Our motto is, if you need something, just ask. That's what your sheriff's office should be there to do. And that's what we've tried to provide. I would argue that over the last 4 years, look, this is my 28th year wearing a badge and a uniform. And at the sheriff's office, which is the one place I always wanted to work ever since I was 4 years old, I didn't want to be sheriff. I don't know what I was thinking. I just wanted to be a deputy. But here I am. So it was our goal over the last 4 years to modernize us, increase that engagement, and get us to a point where we are a highly respected agency. And all throughout my career at the sheriff's office, we'd have to compete against agencies like Elgin and Aurora with all these great gadgets and toys and pay that their officers received, and we were always kind of the laughingstock. So when I took office, number one, transparency, communication, collaboration had to start with our Kane County Board, because my mission was to get us right at that level where people started to finally look up to Kane County Sheriff's Office and we could hold our true potential. So over that course of time, we had to start very small. How many of y'all live in Kane County? Let me see a show of hands. All right, there we go. I love it. Do you love your sheriff's office? Wonderful. That's what I like to hear. We got a rowdy crowd here. It was the people from the bus, guys. That's what we were waiting for. We knew they were going to get the party started for us. Yeah. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we've gotten done. I told you about our community engagement, the fact that we now have Krista Kaus's job. She's a detective, but she is full-time for the first time ever at the Sheriff's Office, senior services detective. So not only, yes, give it up for Krista again, not only does she investigate crimes against seniors, but she's also at all of these engagements, making sure everybody, again, our motto, has what they need. So ever since the 1950s and 60s, the Kane County Sheriff's Office had a really old, antiquated patrol model. We took the county, that's a picture of Kane right there if you're not familiar with it, and we broke it up north, center, and south, and we would shotgun a car or two out into those areas and just hope that they would be somewhere close to a call. Our response times averaged anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes, even in emergency situations, 15 to 20 minutes. Because this is a model that we used in the 1950s and 60s, and it was still active in 2018. How much has Kane County grown since the 1950s? How much has the infrastructure changed? The roadways, the traffic. The population's more than doubled just in 20 years. So what we had to do is use modern tech. So we used some heat maps, traffic patterns, and we redesigned how we patrol Kane County. We broke it up into 7 different patrol beats based on call volume, based on roadway, based on traffic, and we were able to take our response times. The very first year, we cut them in half. We ended last year with a response time of 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes. See, just thinking out of the box, and that serves you all better. Because our deputies are out there not just to respond to your calls, they're out there to do proactive activity like traffic stops, but also on super hot days or in the dead of winter, guess what else they're doing? They're checking up on you. We go to homes and do well-being checks and safety checks, making sure, again, our motto, people have what they need. That is the core mission of public safety and service. 2 months into my time as sheriff, something really traumatic happened. The Pratt warehouse shooting in Aurora. Remember I was telling you guys that we weren't quite up to par with agencies like Aurora, but we would work shoulder to shoulder with them, and we still do on a daily basis. So Aurora asked for us immediately as that call went out for the Pratt warehouse shooting, and my deputies were going in shoulder to shoulder with Aurora police officers. Once our SWAT team got on scene, and I want you to picture, if you're an old, antiquated police agency that doesn't have state-of-the-art vehicles to respond to a threat like this, and you're using military vehicles from the 1970s, we get all our guys loaded up in our armored vehicle that we got from the U.S. Army, again, from the 1970s. They start driving down Prairie Street in Aurora so they can go up and help them clear the building, and guess what it does? breaks down right in the middle of the street. Yeah. So, if you want to talk about embarrassing, for everybody in our agency, that's it right there. So we try to like put claws over it and everything and a blanket and try and hide it. No, there's nothing to see here, folks. But we use that, remember I was talking about collaboration, communication, and transparency. We use that as a launch pad to get where we are now. I went to the county board and I said, look, my folks were in there, they were taking gunfire. 6 Aurora police officers got hit. 5 people were killed that day, 5 civilians. We can't operate like this anymore. We got to take off from here. So fortunately, thanks to our county board agreeing with me and supporting us like they have over the last 4 years, we were able to buy our brand new Bearcat armored vehicle. And people will come to our national night out in beautiful old St. Charles, Illinois, and they'll say, Sheriff, why does the sheriff's office need a vehicle like that? Come on, that's a big waste of money. Well, not just the Pratt warehouse shooting, but I'm going to show you another incident where this vehicle saved the lives of 2 sheriff's deputies a short time after we got it. This is our brand new critical incident response vehicle that our bomb squad uses. You may not be familiar, but your sheriff's office also is one of only 9 bomb squads in the state of Illinois. So our bomb team will go out anywhere from basically west out to I-39 and anything north of I-80 is what they'll respond to, outside of Cook and DuPage. So they're very busy. They get a call out about once or twice a week. Typically, it's one of those things where, hey, you're cleaning out your garage and you found your dad's or grandpa's old mortar or a grenade from World War II, that kind of thing. They're getting called out for that. But also hazardous devices. People come across suspicious packages and they want the bomb squad to, in this day and age, to come out and take a look at it. Well, this is the vehicle that they deploy from. We're able to finally, when I took office, we didn't even have money to buy squad cars. Can you believe that? How are we supposed to get around? Horseback? Year 2019. No horseback. Don't root for that. Come on. So now we have a fully funded fleet program. We're able to finally modernize our vehicles. Remember, I was talking about that incident a short time later where that Bearcat saved deputies' lives. Who remembers the civil unrest from the area here on June 1st, 2020, right after George Floyd? Anybody exposed to that? I know Aurora was exposed to it. Elgin had some civil unrest. So here's a good photo right up there. You see up in the top of the screen these 3 armored vehicles. So that's one of ours, that's the Bearcat, and that's Aurora's Bearcat. And they were all pushing the crowd back as they advanced north on Broadway, and they went to turn east on Galena when shots rang out. Somebody lit up all 3 of those armored vehicles with gunfire. And that right there is a bullet hole in the front windshield of the Bearcat, which of course is bulletproof glass. So I fondly remind people at all of our national night outs and touch of trucks and public events when they go, we don't need that kind of thing in Geneva or St. Charles. Number one, you never know what's going to happen in Geneva and St. Charles. But remember, Kane County is a big county, 532,000 population, and we respond to many critical incidents. If I didn't have this vehicle, I would have had 2 funerals for deputies that were sitting right on the other side of that glass. We are so thankful and fortunate to be able to tout that. Can you guys believe that we had the same radio system that we used in the 1960s at the sheriff's office? Every other police agency in Kane County had their own modernized radio platform to speak on. They could even communicate with each other. The sheriff's office couldn't even communicate with other people on the radio. One of my goals over the 4 years is to get that done. We got that done. So now for once, we can all finally talk to each other and communicate. We have a fully funded body camera program, and who's heard of the Safety Act? Anybody worried about the Safety Act? Okay, I can touch on the Safety Act real quick here too. The bottom line is, since we've been able to modernize ourselves, get these body cameras in place, fully funded, we advanced our policies, we advanced our training to where every badge and gun carrier at the sheriff's office has to go through monthly tactical training, which includes self-defense, self-induced, stress-induced firearms training, and de-escalation training. And the whole point of that is to bring up their confidence and their ability to do their job. And when we did this, our use of force went down. If you guys watch the news and you listen to poor old Chicago PD, you hear about uses of force that may be questionable. But by doing this, we're able to eliminate that. And by doing this, we're able to meet all the requirements of the Safety Act that has been mandated without having to ask for any additional funding from our county board. So when it comes to the Safety Act, Really what most people are concerned about right now is the Pretrial Fairness Act. So here's the Safety Act, which covers many different things like policies, training, equipment, mental health for law enforcement. Then you have the Pretrial Fairness Act underneath it, and that's where the cashless bail comes in, and a lot of the laws that could be non-detainable. So unfortunately, law enforcement has been shut out of the conversation with the legislators that has created the bill. Fortunately, 4 state's attorneys left in Illinois are still at the table. And even more fortunately, one of those is our great state's attorney, Jamie Mosser. She has worked at least 2 hours a day she spends in meetings, sometimes 7 days a week, trying to negotiate the 3rd trailer bill for the Pretrial Fairness Act. And we truly believe that they're at a point where after the election day and they go back to veto session in Springfield, that we're gonna see a trailer bill that fixes a lot of the issues that we are concerned about. Jamie and I will tell them, or I should say I'll tell them through Jamie, look, cashless bail can be a good thing, but you guys want to employ the New York model, which takes all decision-making away from a judge. That's why they're called a judge, right? That's kind of the whole point. So a judge can only detain people for certain offenses, and they have to have a clear, identifiable victim, the way it's written right now. So think about that. If you or your loved one is a victim of a domestic battery, a severe domestic battery, they get sent to the hospital. Technically, under the Pretrial Fairness Act, they're gonna have to come straight from the hospital into court just a few hours later, because we have to have that clear identifiable victim, and they have to give a testimony right in front of that person who severely battered them. Does that sound egregious to you? That's incredibly egregious. So that is one of the things that we're working more passionately on to get corrected. We also want them to employ what's called the New Jersey cashless bail model. So understand that New York and a few other states went to this certain type of model, which takes all of that decision-making away from the judge, and there's only certain offenses we can detain for. In the New Jersey model, the judge can say, based on the charge at the time, the person's criminal history, and a risk assessment that is done by what's called the Court Services Division, it's just part of the judiciary, that that person can be remanded to the sheriff's custody. And we're even talking like a simple Class B or Class A misdemeanor, low-level misdemeanors. And I'm sure any police officer in the room can think of a certain point in their career where they came across somebody that they were arresting for a low-level misdemeanor, but based on that person's either mental health status, their criminal history, or their risk assessment, that person should probably be remanded to get some sort of services and care. The New Jersey model allows for that. So please stay tuned because, like I said, it's coming mid-November. If we do not see the changes that we want, we're going to join the other 50-plus state's attorneys and sheriffs in the state in filing a lawsuit against the state. And really what we're looking for is a stay for about 6 months on this new law, supposed to take effect January 1st, so that we can get more things corrected within it. But again, we have a lot of faith that mid-November we're going to see some changes to get things done. Does anybody have any questions about the Pretrial Fairness Act or anything I just covered here today before I move on? Wonderful. Is the room too big to ask questions? Are you too, yeah, I know you're not shy. You'll ask a question. Absolutely. Yes, voting is important. Now through November 8th, absolutely. I do want to talk about the other hat that I wear as part of my job that keeps you safe. So our core philosophy, I always worked on the police side of the house, and I understood that as sheriff, I got to run the county jail. So I better really invest to figure out what is going on inside of our jail, because I knew we were doing relatively nothing but warehousing people. If we warehouse people in the county jail and provide them no services while in custody and re-enter them just by booting them out the front door, what are they going to do? They're going to create more victims. They're going to create more crime. We did nothing to serve them. Kane County had a recidivism rate, 6-year average, before 2019 of 49%. 1 in every 2 people walking out our front door was coming back a short time later. And again, creating more victims, creating more crime. The national recidivism rate is 35%. So we were way behind the curve on that. What we decided to do, and tell me if this resonates with any of you, with people coming into custody, reasons why people are getting arrested. We decided to start triaging people as they came into our front doors, just like you would do it in ER. You have a heart attack today, is your leg broken? Which way are we going to route you? And our belief is that you come into custody down a one of three pathways. Everybody know what mental health is? Not a big question mark there. I'm going to skip this one real quick. Addiction. I'm going to go right to lack of opportunities. We're going to come right back to addiction. And you could all say, Sheriff, those three are co-occurring. Well, absolutely. But what we're trying to do is identify the most serious issue that's bringing them into custody. When I talk about mental health, I'm talking about the most severe mental health issues you can possibly imagine. When social services ended, everybody's county jail, I should say social services in the communities, ended, everybody's county jail became the biggest mental health institution, unfortunately. These are people who should probably be in some sort of residential mental health institution, not incarcerated, if we had the proper services. Lack of opportunity. Anybody want to take a guess what lack of opportunity is? My lady, yes. No mentorship, no parents in the home. Didn't have a chance coming out of the womb. So we created vocational cell blocks and mentorship cell blocks that give these people, number one, somebody to look up to that's out in the community that comes in and connects with these folks in each cell block. And they're the same person that they're going to see outside in the community when they leave us. And we also do forklift certification, OSHA 10, OSHA 30, small business classes, financial management classes. So we're trying to give these folks a hand up, and then when they leave us, we also hold job fairs in the jail. We have 48 employers north to south in Kane that will actually employ our folks when they come out of the Kane County Jail. And again, our belief is that if we give them that foundation, that platform, that opportunity, they're less likely to recidivize now that they finally have that opportunity. Now, how about addiction? What percentage of my jail population do you think suffers from an addiction issue? I heard it. 90. Because we poll everybody that comes into custody, we range about 90 to 91% of everybody in my jail on a daily basis has some sort of addiction issue. What do you think the most prevalent addiction is? Alcohol. Paul gets it. Give him a raffle prize. That's perfect. So we created what's called Recovery Pod. We have 2 different recovery pods in the Kane County Jail where we focus not only medically assisted treatment for the opioid dependent. You guys ever heard of the opioid crisis? Okay. For the opioid dependent, but also intensive counseling. We are the only jail that we found in the nation that provides EMDR trauma therapy in these cell blocks. And basically, if you're not familiar with that trauma therapy, it's an eye movement therapy that takes the trauma from the frontal lobe of your brain and replaces it in a different part of your brain so you can process it better. And this allows our counselors to really dig in and figure out the core root cause of why these people are committing crime and help them redirect their behavior. And guess what? Continuum of care. The same people they see inside of our jail are the same people they see when they go home for their continued counseling. They have to have that. If I just flipped somebody a business card when they left us and said, hey, go connect with XYZ Counseling Service in Geneva, do you think they'd do it? No, absolutely not. They need that same continuum of care to make a difference. This is just a glimpse inside Recovery Pod. This is a whole different environment than the other cell blocks in our jail. These guys get their doors opened up at 6 a.m. They don't go back in until 10 p.m. Yeah, the officers run the cell block, but they have mentors amongst themselves that run the cell block as well. They make sure everybody stays in line, everybody's following the rules. They have different furniture in there. They have pop-a-shot basketball. They have foosball. They have ping pong. Why does this one specific cell block get all of that? I heard behavior. It's reward. It's a reward system. And they know if they don't stay on track, if they don't invest in themselves in the counseling, all that stuff's going to go away. So that's why it's reward-based. And don't get me wrong, folks. I got 10 cell blocks in the jail. I have 3 that I maintain for those that want to keep doing stupid stuff, gangbanging, and don't want to go along with programming. And they can just sit. They don't get anything. They actually get to get out of their cells for 5.5, 6 hours a day. But guess what they're hearing about constantly? All this magic that goes on in this cell block over here and some of our other vocational cell blocks. Life is a lot better over there, so it's motivation for them to get in line and take a step over. I did touch on trauma therapy, so I'm going to wing right past that one. Talking about our opioid impact, that's opioid deaths in Kane from 2011 to 2018. And my philosophy, again, I got a lot of philosophies, don't I? That our jail is a fusion center for all of our community's worst issues. You follow me there? So everything bad in your community is going to manifest itself in the Kane County Jail. And it's also your county jail, wherever you may live. And that is the one point where you have a shot at correcting some of these issues. So again, opioid deaths between 2011 and 2018 in Kane, I think everybody would agree it's casually rising over time, just like everywhere else. And then we remember that if we're not treating these folks well in custody that are opioid dependent, they're 74 times more likely to overdose and die when they leave us. 74 times. The year before I was sheriff, we had 345 people in my custody exhibiting severe opioid withdrawals, and we were doing nothing but give them Tylenol and Pepto-Bismol. Okay? Yes? I'm so sorry to hear that. From opioid overdose? Okay. My condolences, sincerely. And that's why we are passionately treating it within the Kane County Jail, because of this statistic right here. It's that one point where we can finally get our hands on these folks. So what we decided to do, because data is so important to us, is start tracking what is going on not just in the jail from our services, but what's happening on the outside. So the 2 years before we started all this, in 2019, we took the coroner's death data from opioid overdoses in Kane, and we matched them up with our jail list. And we found that in 2017, before any of this started, 11 people came through us, overdosed and died in the community. Dang it, we had 11 chances to save a life. 2018, we had 15 people come through OD and die. Then you see in 2019, we started Recovery Pod and all of our medically assisted treatment services. And we went down to 2 people came through. 2020, 1 person. And we closed out 2021 with 0 people coming through our jail services and overdosing and dying. That's an opportunity. Sadly, though, in 2022, we've already lost 2 of our folks that have come through, but still, it's much better than the other. We are one of the only counties in the nation that were able to report a downturn during the pandemic in opioid overdose deaths, and we truly believe that it is in part due to our services inside the jail. Again, this is where all these problems are coming together. This is where they're all going to manifest themselves, right? That's our opportunity. It makes the place safer. This is a snapshot of detainee fights and attacks on officers. We were able to reduce those by 35% because people are actually plugged into resources. They're doing stuff. They're not just sitting and getting frustrated. It's making our officers safer. Any administrator will love this since they don't have to, your officers don't have to fight people anymore as much. Our work comp claims went down. Everybody familiar with how expensive workman comp claims are? Yeah, absolutely. We took those down 40%. Officers know what I'm talking about. You got colleagues that probably go see Dr. Summeroff after they hit their elbow and have to be off work 3, 4, 5 months. Yes, ma'am. What is a workman's comp claim? So let's see here. If I fell off the stage, I'm on duty right now, and I twisted my ankle, I would go to the doctor and I would get a note that says I got hurt at work, and I get to go sit at home until my ankle's better, and I'm getting paid. Yeah, that's a work comp claim in and of itself. And then when my medical care is over with, then I usually get a settlement from the county for X number of dollars. I've seen mid to upper 6-figure settlements in Kane County for workman comp claims. Very expensive. So like I said, that 6-year average of 49%, we were able to take it down, closing 2021 out with 18% recidivism in Kane. 49% down to 18%. This stuff works. The reentry services work. We've cut our jail population in half. My first day in office, our population was 555. As of today, it's 291. Of course, our electronic monitoring program helps that out a lot too when we brought that back. Countywide crime is down 16% over the last 4, and we saved you over $5 million if you live in Kane County by diverting people from custody. So this is now a program right out of little old Kane County that is getting national attention. We get to coach 14 other jails in Illinois, about 20 in California, Alaska just came on board, Virginia just came on board, because we decided to think a little differently. We decided to think a little dynamically. And we're really proud to say that it does keep you safer and save you a heck of a lot of money. So if any of your groups ever want to come do a tour at the Kane County Jail, I love giving jail tours. I'm really easy to find. If you want to set that up, just go to kanesheriff.com, click on the sheriff link. I'm more than happy to take a group through. You guys actually even get to go into Recovery Pod, engage with these guys, have a nice conversation. Really humanizes them a lot and opens up eyes. So I want to thank you all for listening to that quick update on the Kane County Sheriff's Office and a little about why we do what we do and how it works.